relations between states are guided by what each state or government wants to achieve in relation with the other. This can have not only primary effects, but also political and economic effects. The Gambia has always desired to have good and friendly relations with all countries, most especially all its neighbors. Under a new government and dispensation, the Gambia is determined to focus on a thorough relations with its trusted allies, most especially those that command power at international level. GRTS Special Report will in this episode look at the Gambia's foreign policy and how it has been battered over the years, and who are the actors tasked with this image rebuilding agenda.
The Gambia is a country that gained independence from Great Britain in 1965. The country was ill-equipped as a performer at the international political stage till 1970, when it became fully fledged republic with a president heading its government. Till now, the Smiling Coast was headed by a prime minister.
A chance here to see them all. Prime Minister Jawara of the Gambia. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, President of Zambia.
The country's foreign policy was weak owing to a colonial legacy that impacted an indirect rule system, leaving the tiny poor West African country with inappropriate institutions doomed to fail. Hope was never at its best, as an educated elite were limited to impact on the necessary development trajectory. A moment in the Gambia's history when the president has to explore the international community of nations for help to finance government programs. This is the birth of Gambia's foreign policy, and the legacy had lived on now for decades.
If I may start with the economic matters, which go beyond just bilateral cooperation, we have just embarked on a 5-year development program beginning last year, and in this we still have 1 or 2 projects which need financing. And among the things I discussed with the French authorities are 1 or 2 projects in our development program, and we hope that in the not too distant future we'll work our ways and means of cooperating with France in implementing these particular projects. Certainly relations between the Gambia and France have always been good, but I have no doubt that this visit will further strengthen relations and increase the cooperation which exists between our 2 countries.
Those cooperation efforts continued for years, and the Gambia's emergence from 400 years of British rule began to take shape with an economic recovery cooperation program. France was again a key international player amongst the global community of nations.
We discussed mainly matters of interest to France and the Gambia. We discussed possible areas of cooperation between our 2 countries. We discussed projects, development projects, which are shared between Gambia and Senegal on the Gambia River Basin for the building of dams for hydroelectricity and agriculture, irrigation and salinity control, and also the building of a bridge across the Gambia River, which we call the Trans-Gambia Bridge. We discussed all this, and of course we discussed the certain political matters concerning Africa.
July 1994, the Gambia experienced a military coup by an unpopular military captain, Lieutenant Yahya A. Jammeh, ushering in the Armed Forces Provisional Ruling Council that lasted for a 2-year transition period. Key international players abandoned the Gambia, creating an atmosphere of hopeless foreign policy that is dictated by a decree than the popular will of the people inscripted in the national blueprint. This political predicament ended in a certain quarter with the 1996 presidential elections and the coming into being of the 1997 constitution that gave Gambia's second president, Yahya Jammeh, powers beyond ordinary governance at will. Many key international players restored ties with conditionality to aid, which later saw a change of foreign policy direction. It can't be wrong to say Jammeh was not himself, and it was a matter of time for his administration to make decisions that sucked the international community of nations, leaving the once vibrant foreign relations front seat for a back seat in the world affairs.
My foreign policy drive is to ensure that Gambia returns to the fold of the international community, that we are a pariah state and that we are an isolated state, probably untouchable because we defied everything that was decent, everything that was accepted as normal in relationship between countries. We are mending fences where these were broken. We are trying to restore strained relationships, and particularly within the Commonwealth as well as within the sub-region.
The Gambia, in the latter years of the previous administration, has been in an ice chamber. To a point, we became a pariah state. From a geopolitical point of view, we cannot afford to be in a perpetual antagonistic relations with the rest of the world, most in particular with our next door neighbor, Senegal.
te président Macky Sall fii la jëkk ñëw toog waxtaan ak moom toog waxtaan ak président Yahya Jammeh wax ka li mu gisee diggante ñaari réew yi. ñëw na fi ñetti yoon yu nga xam ni ñëw na fi seet si président Yahya Jammeh amoon na ay tolof-tolof duma ko weddi amoon na ay raq-raq parce que tëj nañu boode bi mais diggante bi dafa mel na diggante mag ak rak wala diggante ñaari seex ñaari twin léeg-léeg ñu am problème. loolu amoon na ay tolof-tolof yooyu jarul ma ciy dellu si parce que réew moo gis ak neighboram léeg-léeg loolu du ñàkk.
With Jammeh's defeat in the 2016 presidential election and his going into exile in January 2017, a new coalition government has emerged under President Barrow. His determination to restore foreign relations with key players in today's global business is playing siege at the international front. A more aggressive move by a newly appointed vice president saw her first formal visit to Turkey, changing course and direction that is bearing fruit at the home front. It was a game changer in mid-September when Vice President Adja Fatoumata Jallow Tambajang and delegation visited Turkey to meet with the Turkish authorities as to address the Gambia's political and the economic realities.
His Excellency President Barrow, he has asked that we convey and that we stay together as a nation, as two nations, and that he is also committed to someday visiting Turkey so that he can also have a tete-a-tete with his brother, His Excellency Erdogan, to see that they work out how best they can really help Gambia to move her people forward. Economic prosperity, good governance, the rule of law, particularly in the area of security reform. We would also like the government of Turkey to help us. And within the framework, we have already established a commission, a Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission, so that the people who suffered during the dictator would really have justice. We will reconcile as a nation. We will forgive as our religion demands us. But forgiving should not allow injustices to prevail. Those who committed crimes will face the justice. And here I want to say that our democratic governance does allow the independence of the judiciary, the executive, and the legislation.
Key focus of our visit was the Turkish Deputy Prime Minister, Turkish Grand National Assembly, Ministry of Family and Social Policy, the Turkish International Cooperation Agency, the Justice Academy of Turkey, and the Turkish International Airlines.
I think this is a very important development. This is something that we've been looking for the longest time. We've had some attempts in the past, to get a world-class airline like Turkish Airlines in the Gambia. It hasn't been easy, but we know that, if we're going to make any meaningful headway in the industry, we will have to get mega players like Turkish Airlines, to be flying into Banjul. As you may know, Turkish Airline is considered the biggest in terms of countries flown. They go to about 116 countries in the world, and they're covering over 290 destinations. So if you have air link between Banjul and Istanbul, or any hub out of which they're flying in Turkey, it means you're actually connected to the world. So I think it's a very important move. And Gambia, as a small country, needs to be linked to the world, needs to be connected to the world. And we need that kind of an opportunity, and I think it is coming with Turkish Airlines.
This new epoch of foreign relations between Ankara and Banjul has gained its height with a Turkish delegation visiting the Gambia after 3 weeks upon return of the Vice President. The new cooperation marks a new chapter of foreign relations between Gambia and the rest of the world, sending signals of new strategy, foreign relations that is intended to truly emancipate Gambia and our people after 52 years of independence from Great Britain.
Following the December 1st presidential elections, the Gambia's new relations with the rest of the world resulted to a relief from a totalitarian administration that ended impunity. The Gambia is now poised to emerge from years of isolationism. Join us in our next episode of GRTS Special Report. We'll take a look at how the once friendly and warm relations between the Gambia and its colonial masters, Great Britain, turned frosty over the years, and what the new government is doing to renew and strengthen these very important relations.